Oliver, it's all yours. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thanks for putting on an amazing event. I've been watching pretty much all morning, some great speakers. I know how hard these things are to pull together. So yeah, hats off to you, Paul. And really appreciate the invite. Guys, I've got the graveyard shift, the one just before lunch. So you're probably all kind of desperate to go get some food and stuff. But I promise if you hang around for the next 20 minutes or so, the one biggest thing that I want to give to you guys is something that you can implement in your business and see results from. So that's my promise to you. Let's jump straight into it. So let's have a look at traditional CRO. Is it dead? And why most CRO problems fail. So we're talking about conversion rate optimization. Scott's talk was really fantastic. He was talking about, a lot of your audience aren't yet ready to buy from you when they see your ad or they see your campaigns. I'm going to hopefully show you some examples of how you can capture those people and turn more clicks into customers from cold audiences. First and foremost, most brands don't have a traffic problem. They have a post-click problem. So everyone obsesses around how can I get more people to my landing page, to my store, to my PDP. All I need is more traffic, right? All I need is TikTok Shop. All I need is Meta. All I need is Google Ads. All I need is to drive more people to my site, and that's going to generate me profit. But if you're not turning those clicks into customers by doing effective CRO or post-click optimization, then that's where the problem lies. And we see so many people having this exact same problem. As I just said here, we've seen this play out thousands of times. So we've been in this industry for 13 years. We've built more landing pages than any other agency on the planet. We've generated hundreds of millions of dollars in uplift and revenue for our clients, all through post-click optimization. And I'm going to share some real case studies and examples with you today. And hopefully, like I say, you can pick up something that you can implement on your stores to generate you results. So as I said, a couple of things that I'm really proud of. I am co-founder of ConversionWise, founded back in 2013 alongside my co-founder, Andy. And yeah, we've been doing this for a long time. We've worked with over 4,000 ecom brands, some incredible names, some incredible celebrities. We were lucky enough to build Lionel Messi's football clothing store, which is a standout for me because I'm a huge football fan. But funny enough, we also the people who built Kim Kardashian's first ever D2C product landing pages as well. So not just brands, but celebs as well. But let's get into the content. So why do most CRO programs fail? I think as a show of hands, Paul, I saw you do this earlier. People can kind of put a 1 in the chat. I know we've been watching on YouTube, but how many of you are actively doing experimentation? So A/B testing, CRO, optimization on your stores right now? Put a 1 in the chat. Paul, let me know if we've got some coming through.
I can put 1 from my side.
Yeah. I like it.
Guys, please post 1 if you're doing any A/B testing. There's no one so far.
Okay, I think this is good, right? Because this means that there's a lot to be learned on, hopefully, on this talk. But the way we see conversion rate optimized fail is because people are still optimizing in isolation. Now, I've been doing this for a long time, and everyone used to be obsessed of small experiments, A/B testing a color of a button versus another color of a button. And I just think the industry has completely changed. The way people view stores have changed. The way people shop online have changed. And no longer does these small tests work. Now we need to take what we call bigger swings. So they mistakenly will take activity for growth, but it's not. These small isolated tests don't work. There's a caveat to that. If you obviously have a lot of data, so if you have millions upon millions or hundreds of millions of sessions going to your store every single month, then that's when those kind of smaller tests do work. But typically, brands scaling from, say, 1 to 20 million up, your biggest swings are going to work. So you don't grow a $100 million brand from a 0.2% uplift. Okay, you grow it from bigger and better decisions. And I'm going to show you how to come to those decisions now. So we stopped as a company thinking about conversion rate optimization as testing and isolated experimentation and started to think about it as growth after the click. What can I do once people click an ad on my page or on my store to turn them into a customer? And this is how we designed our growth click model. Every click equals revenue, bigger swings over smaller tweaks. So no longer do we test in isolation. No longer do we do these small experimentations and A/B testings as we traditionally did. Now we're taking far bigger swings. And this is where the real money is made. So every test that we run starts with data. And this is really, really important. We talk about qualitative and quantitative data all the time. But both are equally as important. And we won't run a test for our clients unless we gather that data. So whether or not you're coming to us for a new landing page or a complete store redesign, both based on best practices, and here's one that I'm going to put out there: best practices in CRO 1000% exist. People say they don't. They definitely do. I've seen it time and time again. But whether or not you're doing a page design or you're running ongoing
It's like I just lost the voice.
Can you get me back? You got me?
Yeah, you're back.
Sorry,
Okay.
I think that's
Perfect.
my side. I touched the headphone socket. So yeah, whether or not you're coming to us for a landing page design, store rebuild, or you're coming to us to do ongoing experimentation, A/B testing, we always gather as much data as possible, and I'll tell you why. So two sides, quantitative and qualitative. Quantitative is the what, so that is exactly what's happening on your store. So hard facts, hard numbers from things like GA4 analysis, heat map analysis, scroll depth, etc., session recordings, finding out where people are going on your site, where they're dropping off, where they're scrolling, where they're clicking, where they're rage clicking, and just identifying what's actually going on in your store. But I think the why is equally as important, if not more important, and lets us make more informed decisions about our buyers. So that's direct feedback from surveys, post-purchase or pre-purchase, user interviews. So again, how many of you have actually just rang some of your customers recently and spoken to them and got actual feedback on a call from your customers? Something that's really, really important, and something that we do at ConversionWise is when we work with a brand on an ongoing basis, we will call their customers up and we'll ask them questions. We'll try to find out their objections, their wants, their needs, because we can use this for marketing collateral on the front end to convert more clicks into customers. So make sure you're doing your research, or make sure you're gathering as much research as possible. And then you can start working on those bigger swings. And as a snapshot, I'm going to go through these individually, but as a snapshot, these are the 8 things that we see move the needle as far as improving your conversion rates, your average order value, or your revenue per visitor or revenue per session when it comes to on-page performance. And we're going to go through each and every one of them with an example. So I went into our test vault here internally. We have a test vault at ConversionWise where all of our tests go in, whether they're winners or they're losers. And this data is based on the last around 10 to 12 months of 600 winning tests. So we work with around 60, 70 brands per month. On average, they get around 4 or 5 tests per month. We have a win percentage of around about 30%, which is pretty decent when it comes to CRO. And this is 600 winning tests analyzed from the last 10 to 12 months. So these 8 big swings are where we consistently see these wins. So UX UI changes. Now, I'm not just talking about a color change of a button. I'm talking about redesigning, for example, the above the fold on a PDP. Landing pages, for example, are things like pre-sales. So advertorials, listicles, quiz pages, preset pages, sales pages that then would take you, for example, to a PDP. Offer testing, which we'll go into in a minute, but that's testing your actual offer. So instead of sending someone to a PDP with a unique, with a one-time purchase, testing things like subscription, bundling, things like that, gift with purchase. AOV tests, so these are things to increase the average order value of people on your store. Voice of consumer, again, that feeds back to the why when it's speaking to your customers, surveying them, user interviews, gathering that data and making informed decisions based on that. Messaging and alignment, so that's ad messaging and also on-page messaging, and I'm going to give examples as well. price tests, and then angle testing. So here's exactly what this looks like. And we're going to go through these one by one. So most brands don't have a conversion problem. They have an offer problem. And I would suggest that, again, based on that data, this came up pretty high on the list, number 3 of effective tests to run. But if you are a new brand and you're trying to crack paid media, your offer for me is probably up there with the most important thing that you should be testing. Until you find that product market fit or that offer fit to a cold consumer, you are going to be unable to scale your brand. And offer testing has enabled us to help young brands, new brands, brands who can't spend that much at the moment on social media in a massive way time over time. And I'll give you an example here. So this is an example of an offer test that we ran for a brand called Tout Sauvage. So they sell sunglasses. And traditionally, they were trying to scale on paid media via selling single SKU products. So they were set, you would go onto the sunglass store, you would go onto a PDP, and it would be, let's say, a black generic pair of sunglasses. And they were having an acquisition problem. They couldn't spend on Meta enough to acquire a customer at the right price point. We came in and we ran multiple tests. This wasn't the first test we ran multiple tests, but the offer that unlocked growth for them and $182,000 in additional monthly revenue was this test here. So hopefully you can see this well enough, but before, as I said, they were running standard one SKU, single SKU PDPs. They thought that leveraging things like Afterplay and Klarna would be their unlock, and it wasn't. What we did is we replaced that block with a 3-bundle upsell. Now, this didn't come from guesswork. This came from doing that research, but it's a no-brainer that if you have an affordable pair of sunglasses, you typically will have more than one pair, right? Everyone watching this YouTube replay or video right now probably has multiple pairs of sunglasses. You have one in the car, you have one at home, you have one in the office. So what we did is we bundled that up with a nice UX UI improvement underneath the add to cart button and gave people the incentive to add more, but for more of a discount. So 3-pack bundle, choose any 3 styles, save 20% a day. What happened when you clicked that? It opened up a modal. You were able to select your 3 pairs, and all of a sudden their revenue per session increased by 85 cents. So for every single person visiting their website through paid media or organic, they were making an extra 85 cents per click, which is really, really nice. Secondly, landing page tests. So most brands send traffic to the wrong place. And I think this is something that a lot of brands are guilty of. We see this time and time again, like just this week. I don't know if anyone does, I don't know why you would, but if anyone does follow me on social, I put up a post yesterday where I came into work yesterday and I got an email from a brand we're working with where they were sending all of their social paid media to their homepage because they thought it would do a good job of pre-selling their product. It would educate people. It was a nice brochure-esque page. And we built them out a listicle page that focused on 5 benefits around a specific angle of the product. And it increased their conversion rate by 57% just from building out that interstitial page. So things like listicles, things like advertorials, quiz funnels. If you're watching this now and your product or products need pre-education, they need explaining, this is where landing pages can be a massive unlock for you. So what this is instead of someone seeing an ad and going through to a product page, there's a page in the middle that pre-educates them without shoving the purchase down their throats and then encourages them to click through to another page. So what does this look like? So this is a landing page test we ran for Boom by Cindy Joseph, Ezra Firestone's brand that we do CRO for. We introduced a listicle for them because they were going straight to the PDP, where we focused on their demographic, 5 makeup tips for older women. Now, we've released a lot of content around what makes a good listicle and advertorial. I'm not going to go into that in this talk, but one thing I would highly recommend is having a listicle or advertorial only special deal that makes people feel if they click away because they've clicked on a paid ad from this page, they'll never see that deal again. So a lot of people make mistakes where they think the pre-education part is the only part. You need an offer that backs that up as well. So this was a huge unlock for Ezra and for Boom, and added additional revenue and enabled them to scale by adding that missing piece which pre-educated people on the problem or the benefits of the product. Next up, UX and UI design. So design doesn't convert, decisions do. And this one, I think, is where best practices do exist in CRO. If I was to look at and audit a landing page, I could 9 times out of 10, based on frameworks and best practices, suggest updates to that page in the UX and UI that would improve the conversion rate. First and foremost, above the fold. The single-handed most important part of anyone's page is above the fold, and you need to be following those best practices. So what does that look like? This is a PDP that we redesigned for a handbag shop, and we did this again. We did look into data, of course we did. We looked into heat map analysis, etc. But this was based on basic usability of their offer. So before, you'll see here, you had to select your color of your bag, then this modal drop down. If you wanted more, you then had to click plus, you then had to select a different color here. It was too complicated, and they didn't get the perceived value of buying more to save more across on the page. So after this PDP, what did we do? We showed the savings in a big pill button that they were going to get. We gave them an easy way to select 2 bags. And instead of going 1 click, 2 click, 3 click, 4 click, it's as simple as 1 click, drop down with the color. You see a visual of the bag. And again, this increased their revenue per session through this particular page by over 24%, just by simplifying and focusing on usability of that PDP itself. Price testing. Not enough people do price testing. This is a bit of a kind of underutilized CRO tool in our arsenal and in a lot of people's arsenals. I guarantee that 90% of people watching this right now have never even tested their price points through a proper tool. So one tool we recommend, IntelliGems, is a very good tool to test your prices. And I'm going to give a bit of a case study here, which actually shocked me, because that's one thing with CRO. Best practices do exist. I definitely think they do. But sometimes tests can be unpredictable. This test was very unpredictable. So this was a brand we work with called the Essence Vault, who sell scents. And they originally thought, this was before we came on, they thought that a gift with purchase would generate more sales. So they had a price point that was originally $85 with a gift with purchase. So every time you purchase, you've got this gift. And they thought that that gift was what's going to be able to give them an effective CPA and reduce their CAC. But they sell to a lot of price-sensitive markets. If you think about it, the Essence Vault is, if anyone doesn't know who they are, the amazing brand by a guy called Connor. What they do is they effectively rip off well-known fragrances. So you can all of a sudden get Sauvage for a quarter of the price, if not 20th of the price. It smells the same. It's just not Sauvage. It's not Dior. It's the Essence Vault. And they thought that gift with purchase would be their unlock. But because they are selling to a price-sensitive market where people actually just want a cheaper product, we removed that gift with purchase and we ran actually a 3 comparable test. So we ran the one price point with the gift with purchase, we ran a price point of $79, and we ran a price point at $82. Now, this is where CRO can catch you off guard. I was convinced that the $79 price point would work better than the 82 and the 85 because they're selling into a price-sensitive market. Data told us something completely different. So data actually told us that the $82 price point converted better. Work that one out for yourself, but that's a really cool test to run and one that's underutilized. AOV optimization. So this is where we look at how can we increase the cart size. And this is where people get fixated over conversion rate. Conversion rate doesn't really matter in conversion rate optimization. Sounds crazy, but the metric you really want to track is AOV and conversion rate, because we know that, Paul, you could improve your conversion rate literally tomorrow by halving your prices. I mean, this test might say something different, but you would assume that your conversion rates would skyrocket, right? But your average order value is dramatically less, so you're actually making less per person who comes to your site. So what you want to track is revenue per visitor. If you know your COGS, you want to track profit per visitor. But let's have a look at some AOV unlocks. Hopefully this plays. Yeah, it does. So you'll see here, this is a client we work for called Sullen Clothing. They had a standardized cart where you added a product into your cart and you could then go and purchase. What we did is we gamified the cart. So we added these steps into the cart, as you can see here, and we encouraged people to purchase more. They had a plateau before of around about the $60 mark. We increased that to $80 and plus of an AOV by just incentivizing the cart. You can do that via free shipping, faster shipping. You can give away free products. You can give away access to certain benefits, but just really gamifying your cart can dramatically improve that AOV. So really cool one there. Conscious of time, so I'm going to whip through these ones because I know you're probably all desperate for a bit of a break and some food, but hopefully you're getting some value from this. Voice of customer. I think this again is something that I would just recommend everyone does. If you don't have a post-purchase setup right now, post-purchase survey set up right now, if there's anything you take from this today, go and set that up. We use KnoCommerce, K-N-O-Commerce on Shopify. Set up a post-purchase survey. Ask your customers two really important things. One, why did you purchase today? Going to give you some cool insights. I purchased because I wanted X. I purchased because I wanted result Y. Two, really even better of a question is what almost stopped you purchasing for that today? Because you'll unearth things like objections, friction points, etc., that you can handle on the front end, which is going to turn more of those clicks potentially in future into customers. But clarity beats creativity every time. So if users don't understand, they don't convert. So this is where we're saying you need to match your messaging. You need to speak to your customers. Here's a quick test. So we did a post-purchase survey on a knife brand. This is a really cool knife brand we work with. And everyone, the business owners, the founders of the business were obsessed with the look of the knife. It's a beautiful looking knife. They look amazing in your kitchen. I've got one at home. They sent me one. It looks amazing. It's stunning. But they were obsessed with all of their customers must have the same want. They must be buying this knife because of how sexy it looks. We surveyed their audience and 80 to 90% of people said the number one reason they were shopping for knives or wanted to buy the knife was because of the sharpness of the knife. So we switched all the messaging on the PDP, and here's a cool example. This is a testimonial that we interjected just below the buy box on the PDP that handled that want. So we purposely selected a testimonial that's been left by their customers that mentioned the sharpness of the knife. And all of a sudden, you can see the results, their conversions skyrocketed through the roof. So this is a really cool thing you can do. You can flip this and you can do it to use handle objections, not just once. So if people said, for example, we weren't sure that it would get delivered quickly, find a testimonial that says, super fast delivery, can't believe it was that quick. So you're handling those objections, those wants, before people even know they're going to think about it. Okay, moving on. We've got a couple more, guys. Message match. So conversion doesn't happen on one page. And this is, again, a huge opportunity for any of you to look at your ad library, go speak to your media buyers, have a look at what your ads are saying, and make sure that that message is matched on your page. Wherever you're sending that click, make sure there's a consistency between the ad and the click. Now, you can do that in headlines. You can do that in images. We like to take it one step further. We love a founder story. Here at ConversionWise, we love a founder story. If you've got a product that you're selling that you put your blood and sweat into and can tell a story about, fucking put it on your page, because that's going to really, really help you guys with turning those clicks into customers, especially if you're leading with that on the ads. Okay, we've done this time and time again. Here's an amazing client of ours, Sweet Bee Honey. These guys are a really cool brand. They have an amazing founder story. The founder was on the ads, but there was nothing to be seen on the landing page or store around the founder. So we doubled down on that. We put these sections on the PDPs, we put these sections on the homepage and told that founder's story. Now, all of a sudden, when people are seeing the ad with the founder and they click the link through to the page, there's that continuity. There's that whole experience of, oh, I'm on the right page. I just heard this story. Now I can see this lady again. I love the story. I bought into the product. I now want to buy that product. And you can see the results that we get for these guys. Last but not least, guys, I appreciate you sticking with me. Thank you so much, is angle testing. So this is the mindset that the same product can actually be sold different ways. You have so many different levels of awareness, levels of wants, levels of what people want your product for, the benefit they want to get out of it. Definitely be testing them. And this is a great example. So this is a pet brand that we work with. Again, testing, sending paid media to advertorials. This is the before headline. We literally just changed the headline, nothing else, headline. So before test on the headline of the advertorial was the #1 product to boost your dog's longevity. Who wouldn't want to do that, right? Who wouldn't want their dog to last longer? Absolutely. We flipped it. So we tested about 10, by the way, but this is the winning test. The #1 product that relieves your dog's pain. And that headline outperformed the other headline by 28% as far as click-throughs. Just the headline. Because we analyzed the data, we did post-purchase surveys, we did user interviews, and we found out that people were less bothered about the longevity, sadly, morbidly to say, because they know that their dogs are going to die at some point, and more concerned and more concerned, about the pain that dog's going to go through and giving that dog relief. So definitely be testing your angles on your LPs, on your ads, of course, but on your LPs, your PDPs and such. Quick last note on AI, it's definitely going to come up in, I'm sure, all of these talks. My viewpoint on AI gives you speed, it doesn't give you a direction. And the thing I keep saying to people is that AI is a Ferrari. I think the better example is AI is an F1 car, and most people are still learning to drive. So I think AI is going to give us efficiency, it's going to give us speed. I literally, before this talk, just did an article on my Twitter profile around ChatGPT 2.0, and the images it's creating is nuts. But unless you have that data, unless you have that voice of the customer, unless you speak to your customers and gather the important data to feed to the AI, we've seen some really bad car crashes analysis, kind of to go back to the Ferrari. So I think it's going to be powerful. It already is. We're utilizing it times 10 here at ConversionWise, but you still need that experience. You still need to talk to your customers. You don't need more tests. You need bigger and better decisions. Find the biggest lever, fix it, test it, and repeat it. Guys, thank you for having me. As a little thank you, I want to offer everyone on this live session a post-click growth audit with ConversionWise. You can scan that QR code. You can go to this URL, put in your details. We're going to do a full breakdown of your store, hopefully give you some tips and tricks. And thank you again for the opportunity, Paul. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Oliver, for jumping in.
Thanks, Paul.
See you soon.